Okay, let's check out some Gantt chart functionality that's already built into Lead project. So there are a few things you need to understand. Gantt charts work off dependencies and dates, and the dates work off workdays and the holidays that we tell them. And the cash flow sort of works off the dates and the dependencies as well. However, more on the but it incorporates the billing cycle in it. Now, I know a lot of people would have come straight to this video, but if you have, I would have to tell you to go and have a look at this channel, which is Lead Project. And if you go into Lead Project free project budget template,
Hey everyone,
you will have to watch the video starting from number 3 or number 4, because that gives you a very good idea of what this template is all about. Otherwise, people would have no patience and would discard a perfectly good template. So what I urge you to do, the ones who have come straight to this video, is to subscribe to this channel and also look at this template, which is all about the Lead Project free project budget template. It is totally free, but you'll have to spend some time to understand how that actually works. Everybody else, let's continue with this. So we've got dependency on number of workdays, predecessor, and lag. So if you look at this section right here, in the previous video, we talked about how we've got our cash flow that gets projected over our timeline. But there are a few things that we need to make sure of, that every time we've got a total right here, this exact same total needs to be projected on over here. So I've gone ahead and added a few sections to this thing, but in some places, for example, something like this, I haven't put any details right, or when that cash flow is going to start and when it's going to finish. So I haven't put in any more details. And if I press the generate cash flow right now, it's going to show me an error over here. So let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. So we click on that, and it takes, it will go and look at all the details and see and tell me, okay, this is where I've got this error. So if I zoom out a little bit, so let's just go here and see, you'll see that it's showing me an error right here as well. What it is telling me is that the total that I've got of all the costs that I've allowed for, added my contingency, added my margin on it, that and the total that it's getting on this side is not equal. Now this error is related to this section. So from here to here, from the light blue parent section to the dark gray section for GST, that's one section. So the error is in the section above, not over here. Everywhere else, you'll see that it's got okay. So if I was to minimize all of that, and if I right click on that and I go collapse all row groups, you'll see that there's a Gantt chart happening, and the Gantt chart is happening based on when you have your start date and your end date. It is not based on your billing cycle. Billing cycle and payment due date is for total pure cash flow purposes, and that is why you will find that you've got all these details. You've got cash flow distributed across other months. However, the Gantt chart shows that the work that started, in this section right here, started and finished in the month of March itself. If I expand all of these, you'll see that these are the details. This is your, well, it's not a perfect Gantt chart, but it does give you a visual representation of when a task is starting and when it is finishing. However, the cash flow that gets distributed for it gets distributed on a different date. Why? Because it is dependent upon your billing cycle. And if you want to find out more details, there's another video about the billing cycle and all those things where you can find out those details. Now in here we have this section, we've got it's saying error because we have 37,000 total for brick labor. However, on the cash flow there is nothing in here. So what we want to do is allocate and project this $37,000 that we've got in our budget onto our cash flow. And in here, as I said in the previous video, these dates, you either have to enter them manually in the start date section. You can't enter anything in the end date section. End date section automatically gets calculated based on number of your work days. Now I can easily say that, look, whatever the start date is going to be. If I just put in 1 over here and I don't put in any date on this, it is automatically going to pick up the last date that we've got for a task, and it's going to pick up the next working day after that date is over. So if I wait a few seconds, the script runs automatically, goes and checks everything, and it'll automatically pick that up. Now, if I don't want it to pick it up automatically, all I have to do, for example, all I have to do is give it a predecessor. So if I give that section a predecessor, for example, we've got, the section in red is always manual, or it runs off a predecessor. Everything else gets picked up automatically. So after 9th of October, it looks like it's a Friday or something. And then we have Saturday, Sunday left over, or there are certain holidays or anything that we would have specified in our master data. Again, this video doesn't include showing master data again, so if you watch other videos, you'll be able to know, because we have sections where we can define our work days are always assumes that there is Saturday, Sundays, people don't work, and a list of holidays that are available in the master data where you can put in dates manually, saying that, you know, these dates are public holidays, so don't count them. And that's how this calculation will happen. The other thing is all our dependencies, they work based on 2 types of dependencies are already built in there. One is start to start, which is you have to do this manually. So if the 2 things are starting automatically, you can set the dates to start on the same date. And finish to start is automatically built in, so which is the most common dependency that that is used in project management, where a task finishes and the next task can actually start after the first task finishes. So, and the first section, as I said in the previous video as well, the first section is always going to be manual, or it has to be given a predecessor. So if I say it would start after 9th of October, whenever this ends, so I can either put in 37 in the predecessor column, or I can look at another task. Let's say we've got this task finishing on the 20th of July, and I can put in, and this row is 26. So if I put number 26 over here, that date will automatically get picked up, and the following date from that date onwards would automatically be adjusted, so that it automatically assumes that after 21st July, that's the task that we are going to just after that, unless I put in a predecessor where the predecessor could be 37, for example, and I could change the number of work days that it's going to take. Let's say it's going to take 30 days or something. So it will automatically pick up the next date after 37 end date and add 30 days to it, and we'll have those details over here. So now if I zoom out again and show you what it will look like, so now we've got all our dates set up. I can easily minimize this so that there's not a lot for me to move around. And now when I press my generate cash flow, you'll see that my Gantt chart will get updated, my cash flow will get updated, and all the errors that we had earlier, they would disappear, because every cost that we have accounted for and budgeted for right here is now projected onto our cash flow. So this is an overview of your Gantt chart. So if I expand all the row groups and we go down and see, there is a Gantt chart a representation of the task that you've got here, and the budget. So there was no way to do that in something in a spreadsheet environment unless I had to separate the cash flow side of things, because cash flow is different from the actual tasks that happen during a work site or any project that you've got. So you've got all this Gantt chart functionality right here. So if I was to collapse all of this, you'll be able to see a broader view of every parent item that you've got, and there is no limit to any of the number of parent sections that you can add. all you have to do is decide if you want to add a section with 5 lines, 10 lines, 15 or 20. So if I was to add another section with 15 lines in there, I can easily do that and pick up certain cost codes that I want in there. So I'm just going to copy and paste it from another project that I've got, and I can then come in, expand this section and put in details. So if I've got something that works off your length, width and height, so if I've got 10 10, let's say 5, and I've got one such area and I want to use that, and my cost for that would be about 25 bucks or something like that. I can select my vendor, whatever I want to use, add my margin, let's say it's 10% and it's 15%. So this is my contingency and my margin, so I can add that over here. And now I just need to allocate it to my cash flow. Now if I was to press that generate cash flow, it's going to show me an error again because I haven't actually given it the dates to get to project the cash flow. So I'll just put in, let's say in here, this is going to take a 15-day job, and this is dependent upon us finishing off the roof handrails or whatever. So if I just put in, this is 83. So if I put 83 in here, the first section, as I said, either has to have a predecessor or you have to add it manually. You can change that. You can change this manually, but if you change that manually, it's going to delete the predecessor section because it always goes and checks whether or not there is a predecessor to this task. So at this moment, I'll just leave that at 83, and I've got these details. I'll go generate cash flow, and it will then project that 15,000 that I've got onto my cash flow, which is here. So that's pretty much it. Now we have an error over here. The reason that we have this error, let's just press that again, just to make sure that, so now it's done finishing his calculation, and there is no error. So if you see that it's still showing an error, that means somewhere along the line I either pressed the button before the previous script finished. So once it's got all those things, you'll have a full budget ready with a Gantt chart, and it's super easy to use. I hope you guys like it, and the next videos I will start showing you how you can use my services to track projects. If you've got budgets in there, even if you haven't got budgets, if you give us your budget, we will be able to track your project in real time, and I'll show you how that works as well.